Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're here today with our Friday review. Love these shows. Love being able to update you with what's been going on over the past few weeks, what is coming up over the next few weeks, going over some food reviews, product reviews, technology, book reviews, and always a couple of research-based studies that I think are absolutely pertinent in your life, or, of course, something that you could share with someone you care for. So I always love to do these shows, and the reason is that it's kind of a check-in show. It's my way of going over a bunch of different topics, sharing with you all the different things that have been going on in our private practice, over at Equilibrium Nutrition, over at IHP, you name it, but also all the different things that I want to bring to you, but simply put, they're not long enough, they're not big enough for a full show, and most shows are one topic, get into it, what does it mean for you, and what should you do about it in your life. I never want this to be a podcast where I present to you a problem, but I don't also offer a solution. Because so much in life, we encounter problems, right? On a daily basis, we're encountering maybe dozens of different problems. Well, the thing is this, that oftentimes we come up with a lot of different excuses, or we can say, yes, life is honestly about overcoming obstacles and challenges. Now, there's a lot of great times we have in life, right? Things are going well. That's the ebb and flow to life. And then we're presented with a problem, a challenge, some more difficult than others. And without this turning into a Mindset and Motivation Monday, what I want you to do is just to know that on a Monday through Thursday, I'm trying to do one topic, one integrative health practice-based topic, and go deep on it. And so that you can go back at any time and you can search these podcasts. We're going to make it easier and easier to search. Right now at stephencabral.com/podcasts, there's actually graphics along the top. Whether you're on your phone or a desktop, you can scroll along, and they're actually topics with maybe like 20 to 30 shows. Eventually there'll be 50 per topic. And then you can go deep on thyroid, deep on digestion, deep on Ayurveda, and you can actually get a really good foundation for any one of those topics by listening to 20 to 50 shows. And then, of course, there's all the shows that you can research and look back at there. So I want to develop this library for that, but on Fridays the fun shows. Fridays the shows where I get to talk about anything goes, right? It's all sorts of different things, talking about what's going on lifestyle-wise, talk about what I'm excited about, what's coming up this fall. So let's dive into some of those things for you today. Certainly some book reviews coming, some research as well. So over this past week, and I do hope that you've been tuning into this past week's shows, we went over a bunch. I mean, just as always, right? So this past week, we went over how to reframe negative thoughts. That's a big one for me. Motivation and Mindset Mondays it's my own time, right? It's my own time to reset my mind, to get ready for the week. I don't want to lose a week. When I look at the year, I look at, well, maybe like 48 to 50 weeks, right? Because we're going to take a couple weeks off for vacation. So we look at that, we say, okay, that's not a lot of weeks. In the grand scheme of things, the older you get, the more you realize, wow, like time really does move and it doesn't stop. So if you just mail it in for a week, or you actually go backwards for a week with your diet or your health or whatever it might be, you could find yourself having to dig out of that hole. And so for me, it's just like, listen, reset every single Monday morning, really reset every Sunday night. I want to be ready for that Monday morning. And just say, maybe this week I'm not as motivated, but I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my team. I'm doing this for my community. And you find a way to continue to move forward. So that was how to reframe negative thoughts. That was episode 1641. 1642, I went over how the gut, your digestive system, affects your immune system. So if you have an autoimmune issue or you have some type of inflammatory immune condition, check out that show for sure. That was 1642. Episode 1643 was GMO Foods and Labeling. Definitely check out that show because of the horrific situation we are at with our farming and what is going on and why these genetically modified foods or organisms, they're not even foods, and genetically engineered foods are becoming quite dangerous. Episode 1644, that was just yesterday. We went over the ultimate superfood, and that's in quotation marks with a little question mark. But, all kidding aside, hopefully you did tune into that show because we'll be talking about some recipes for that one superfood here today. And then, of course, today's show, this is episode 1645. So right now, if you haven't, head on over to stevencabral.com/1645. Scroll down, you'll see all of the links for the products I'll be reviewing today, books, research, etc. On the weekends, that will be our chance to connect. We'll answer your questions. We do that each and every Saturday and Sunday. All right, let's dive into the show. So first things first, what I want to do is just a couple updates. So, this is kind of like we're in August right now. I call it the calm before the storm. July and August is really a happy time, a more free time I always feel like in my life. I spend it in Maine. I'm outside of the city. I'm walking around barefoot, most of the day, or I'm in sandals. And I am really trying to soak up nature. I'm doing trail running, which I plan on doing, to this fall as well. But it's a nice, relaxing time of the year. In New England, we get 2 real months of summer, and that's July and August. And then you feel that turn that last week of August. You actually feel the cool breeze kind of start to come in. Beautiful weather. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's actually a better place in the world to live than New England in the fall. September, October, and I would even dare to say November, amazing months. They really are. And you can throw in December too because of the holidays, right? So it's nice to have snow during the holidays, and we can get some snow in December here. So really, a lot of people don't love the New England weather, but I've grown up here my whole life, and so it's not an issue. But I will admit that January through March for sure, and even most of April, not the best months of the year, but we get a beautiful summer. July and August, not really June. June is not that warm, but we get this beautiful September through November. It's a beautiful fall season, foliage, crisp weather, great to be outside, great to be doing your hikes or your trail runs or, all those great things, sauna. I'll tell you about my barrel sauna that I built in a couple weeks from now. So anyway, we have a lot going on this fall, and my team is not ready for me to share all of those details yet, but there's something big happening. We'll put it this way. Big happening the first week to second week of October. And I cannot wait to share that with you. It's not a new product launch. It's not anything like that. This is a game changer, what I feel, in the integrative health-based industry. And we're doing it, it's true. It might sound kind of strange, but we're doing it for you. We're doing it for our community. I've listened to what people have asked for in my Instagram DMs, in the comments, and from our IHPs. And I said, okay, I get it. I understand. You've been heard. I'm going to make this happen. So we're actually building out a whole new team to be able to create something pretty amazing this fall. So it starts this fall, and then it really kicks into gear January 2021. So I can't wait to roll that out this October. That's all I can say about it, but it's going to be big. It's going to be knowledge-based. It's going to be education-based. And if you've been dealing with a particular issue, like name the issue, we're going to go deep on it. So it's going to be pretty exciting. All right, that's all I can say. We'll do more from there. But also in about 3 weeks, I will have a brand new resources page. So a lot of people say, hey, what toothpaste do you recommend? What dish detergent, what laundry detergent do you recommend? What bed do you recommend? What sheets do you recommend? Like all non-toxic products, right? So people are asking all the time, what sauna do you recommend? And I think it's great. And I am that guinea pig, right? I'm the person who tries out all of these different things. Some companies send me things, and I always tell a company, listen, if you send me things, I'll never give you a negative review. I won't do that. It's not the type of person that I am. People can slander all sorts of people. I've had other doctors just use my material, literally take my material. I don't talk negatively about them. I just say, listen, I just got to keep my head down, keep doing my work. They can play it off, as theirs. It is what it is, I believe in doing your best, right? I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I just believe in doing your best, right? Put your best work forward, put your best foot forward, and let karma do its work. That's really what I believe in life, in good and bad, right? So it's like keep trying to put out good out there. Hopefully you eventually get more good back. And it doesn't happen necessarily tomorrow, but you just keep pushing forward. And that's really the advice that I've just kind of given myself over the years. It'll pay off. Just keep pushing forward, keep helping people, keep trying to serve, keep doing your best. That's it. Anyway, what I'm basically saying is I try not to talk negatively of others, and I just simply share that with you. I think it's a good thing to do in life. But what I do is I purchase a ton of products because I love this space. And also, so companies will send me products. So what I do is I just promote the best of the best. That's it. This is what I use myself. I would say that 99 out of 100 products on that resource page, maybe 95, are all products that I use, and I'll let you know if it's a product that I don't use. So that's it. So I'm really excited for that, but as you could imagine maybe that it's a lot of work. So of course I have an amazing team that helps me put all these together, and my media person Laurie's helping us create this beautiful page. And I just have to do all the write-ups and get all the products and all those types of great things. But that should be ready in about 3 weeks. Super excited for that. That'll be ready for this September. And of course, one of these days, the podcast will go to video. And we're hoping to plan that over the next 4 weeks as well. All right. People have been requesting more virus-based updates and virus podcasts. I appreciate you saying that because I said I will continue to do them if you want the unbiased updates. And so I do hope that you've tuned in to the last two shows. And that was episode 1630, and that was talking about the second wave. And then it was episode 1637 for those people that are most susceptible. And again, that's not going to change, so I'm not going to need to do an update on who's most susceptible. So check out that on episode 1637. We know who's most susceptible. All right, gave you the updates on the lab testing already previously before. The last thing is this, that again, IHP, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, where we teach people about their own health in depth, and we also certify health coaches under us, IHP certified health coaches. That is going to be opening back up this fall, either September or October. If you want to be notified, if you want to be on that waiting list, we only allow 100 people in, and there's no doubt in my mind that within a couple days, those 100 spots will be gone maximum when we open next, because we have been closed, and we will have been closed for at least 3 months. So you can simply download a brochure at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. integrativehealthpractitioner.org. You can download a brochure, see what it's all about. Thousands of practitioners in there. Absolutely amazing, all over the world. Okay, that's that. One thing I have to share with you from Equilibrium Nutrition is simply the offer that we have this week. This is for our community. This is not published anywhere else. This is for our podcast listeners. This is for our Facebook group at cabralsupportgroup.com and our email list. I mean, that's really it. We're a tight-knit community of people that are trying to help ourselves, our families, and others. I mean, that's really what it's all about. And we keep it as grassroots as humanly possible. And of course, we love your referrals, all of those things, but we don't, we're not giving out. We're not offering this to tens of thousands of people a month. That's just not how it works. We would not be able to do the quality of work that we do if we were doing that. So we're offering right now $100 off the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test. It's the very best lab out there. Not a good one. It's the very best lab in the world, at looking at estrogen to progesterone ratios, especially for women. It looks at testosterone and DHEA. And we do that by age range as well. So you don't just get the range, we get, is it optimal for you? We give you cortisol upon waking, before lunch, before dinner, before bed. We make sure that if there's a sleep issue, if there's an energy issue, we're looking at that specifically. We can see what level of what's called HPA axis dysfunction or adrenal dysfunction there is. Then we look at your thyroid, free T4, free T3, TSH, TPO. We also look at your vitamin D levels, so often overlooked, hardly any doctors run them anymore, only one of the most crucial numbers to know. And then we look at insulin and hemoglobin A1C for blood sugar. Now, this is a test that I run twice a year, myself personally, right? People ask me, do you run these labs? Of course I do. This is what got me well, and it's a pleasure to be able to offer it to other people right at home, pretty much anywhere in the world. I mean, we ship to over 24 countries. all around the world. And you can find that right now at equilibriumnutrition.com. It's $100 off. $100 off. It ends at the latest by this Sunday, okay? So that's why I try to tune into the podcast if you can the same day. All the items, well, they do have an expiration, of course. So hopefully this is helpful. I mean, that lab isn't just a lab, right? So there's a lot of companies popping up. They're marketing-based companies. They don't offer you a plan. They don't offer you a call to even tell you what your results mean. They just say, oh, it's in range or out of range. That's not what true health is all about. That's not functional medicine. That's simply a take on conventional medicine, right? With different types of labs. What you really want, we'll put it this way. Lab numbers without a plan are absolutely useless. They really are. It's honestly useless. I went to many practitioners. I ran many labs. Most of them were not able to be helpful. They wanted to be helpful, but they didn't know the inside and out of what these numbers really mean, and also the relationship to each other, the other numbers, right? Because thyroid does not work without the adrenals, right? The adrenals and thyroid work together. Vitamin D affects your thyroid, right? Estrogen is affected by cortisol. So once you know how all of these mean, and our practitioners on my team do, then we're able to explain those results to you. You can begin to see how all of this makes sense. And then, of course, you get a plan to actually be able to rebalance the body. Okay, so that's that on that. Next up, I want to share with you yesterday's superfood. Do listen to the show, but it was about Manuka honey or raw Wildflower local honey. You'll see the reasons for when to use each on yesterday's show. Now, I didn't give you a lot of recipes as to how to use it, so I want to share with you how I use it and how I use it with my 2 daughters. So lots of ways to be able to use honey. And again, you don't need to use a lot of it. We're talking, well, I mean, you can use this many days a week as you'd like, but we're using 1 to 2 teaspoons. That's it. So we're not talking about a mega amount. But what we do is we'll oftentimes, especially during the summer, for breakfast, make our girls a smoothie, but instead of a smoothie, it's basically, we call it ice cream. They call it ice cream as well. And all it is a smoothie with less liquid, right? We just blend it up in our Vitamix, or Blendtec. They're both great. You can use a Ninja. You blend them all up. That'll be on the resources page. And then what we do is we'll drizzle honey over it. And my youngest daughter especially absolutely loves that. So it's a really nice way. You can drizzle it on top of smoothie bowls, an acai bowl, of course, and you can drizzle it on top of your own smoothie, or feel free to blend it right in since that's not cooking it. You can use it in baked goods. So a lot of people like doing that. Again, we don't want to heat up that honey, so you can drizzle it on top afterwards, or again, depending on how hot you heat that baked good, it might be okay. So a lot of people like to have some type of gluten-free toast or something like that in the morning. Although I'm not a huge advocate, people nonetheless enjoy it. So if it's something that you do anyways, it's certainly you could do a little bit of, whether you make your own homemade jam with that, smashing up some raspberries, putting that on top. You could drizzle a little bit of honey if you'd like there. You can also add it to your AM water. And I spoke about that on yesterday's show. You're talking about less than 5 grams essentially of sugar, which is essentially a mixture between glucose and fructose in honey. And you can mix that up with a little bit of your sea salt. And again, if you listen to yesterday's show, a couple different ingredients there as well. You can add it to a post-workout shake. So if you're really worried about the glycemic index of honey, or you're worried about that 5 grams of sugar, you can certainly add it to a post-workout shake. Your body will soak up that minimal amount of glucose and fructose. And you can also add it to coffee in the morning as one of your sweeteners, rather than adding a toxic sweetener, or rather than adding in table sugar. Honey is a great thing to add. You just don't put it in at boiling for tea or for coffee. And if you go back to a previous Friday review, I talk about how black coffee and honey actually are a better cough suppressant and actually help as a way to break up mucus better than cough syrup oftentimes itself. And then you can take it straight, literally put a teaspoon in your mouth if you just enjoy it, or you're using it for allergy-based protocols, or if you have a cough, cold, etc. So the only time we don't use it, I want to share this with you, is on our CBO protocols. So when we're working on yeast overgrowth or working on bacterial overgrowth, we don't use it for the first 4 to 6 weeks because there's slightly more fructans or fructose than there is glucose. And so it can feed bacteria or yeast. And so what we do is simply remove it first, and then we help to repopulate. And then once we repopulate it, well, then it can be a great prebiotic, and honey is. So then we use it afterwards. So again, there's always a time and a place, and that's what we do. All right, let's get on to our book reviews. I have so much that I want to share with you. I'm actually going to share with you the eye mask that I started using. I'm going to do that next week. So let me put that in my notes to review the eye mask with you. And I'm going to review a book on a really great everyday book on psychology with you next week as well. So let me put that in there because I know that I'm coming up with my time for today. A lot of updates in there. So today, though, I'm going to give you 2 books on GMO foods. So for those people who want to learn more about what is happening to our food supply and why it's so important to be able to purchase local whenever possible and really know your food labels, check out these 2 books. I hate mispronouncing names. I believe the author's name is Stephen Drucker. It's Drucker, Drucker or Drucker. I believe it's Drucker. And he wrote a book called Altered Genes, Twisted Truth. I will link it up for you. It's about 3 years old or so, maybe 3.5 years old. I'll link that up at stephencabral.com/1645. And then there's also an older book, which is excellent as well. And this was written about 17 years ago, I believe. And it's called Seeds of Deception, Exposing Industry and Government Lies About the Safety of the Genetically Engineered Foods You're Eating by Jeffrey Smith. Check that out as well if you really want to know a lot about GMO foods and why they're so dangerous, not only to eat them, but actually for the environment. I mean, what a disaster in the economy. Please do check out those books, Altered Genes, Twisted Truth, and then also Seeds of Deception. I will link them up today. So check those out. I'm going to link up my psychology book next week. I'll do my new eye mask that I've been using for the bright sun in Maine here over the summer. Super comfortable and actually working quite well. Doesn't disturb my sleep. And then today I'm going to move on to a little bit of research for you. So the first one that I want to bring you research-wise, I did a podcast on episode 1532. So if you really want to know how long you should be napping for, if it disturbs your sleep at night, all of those different things and what time of the day, check out episode 1532. It goes in depth. But what I'd like to do is share with you, I always like to keep you updated on these studies. There's a NASA study. So NASA actually does quite a bit of studies because they're always looking to improve longevity, health of astronauts, etc. This was a big one too, especially for people not sleeping 7 to 9 hours at night. So like they're not getting enough sleep at night. And certainly, I don't think the astronauts are getting their 8 hours of sleep at night. But there was a study done by NASA, and it showed a short 26-minute nap can increase performance by 34% and alertness by 54%. And it simply says to limit your naps to 26 minutes or less, preferably late in the morning or early in the afternoon. Again, I go way in depth on episode 1532, so check that out. But the reason this show or this particular research study caught my eye is that's pretty much the exact amount of time I set my timer for if I do an early afternoon nap. I mean, it's pretty incredible, right? Because when you say nap, you're like, oh, well, you're taking off all this time. Set it for about, I do it anywhere from like 24 to 26 minutes. And I don't do it every day, but it's a great way. Like if I know, okay, I'm doing a hard workout later, or I'm using a PEMF mat at that afternoon, whatever it might be, and then I just put on my binaural beats, and then boom, I get into that nap. And it's a great way to turn on that parasympathetic nervous system. But that's for a different episode, and that's 1532. So certainly check that out. 26 minutes, I agree with that for sure. Especially in my own life, I wanted to say absolutely, hands down, I agree with that time, and I've seen it work. One more research study I wanted to bring to you today, Omega-3s. I mean, every once in a while, you'll find a contrarian study. There's no doubt about it. But Omega-3s help you live longer. There's a study of 2,692 people, average age 74. This was done at the Harvard School of Public Health, published in the Annals of Internal Medicine. I will certainly link the study for you. People over age 65 with the highest blood levels of omega-3 fatty acids were 27% less likely to die of any cause during the study period, 40% less likely to die from coronary heart disease, and 45% less likely to die of arrhythmia than people with the lowest levels of omega-3s. Overall, those with the highest omega-3 levels lived an average of 2.2 years longer than those with the lowest levels. I'm going to do another show on omega-3s. I've done a few shows already. Hopefully my team can link one of those up with you today at stephencabral.com/1645. But if you're not taking omega-3s right now, so we have something called omega-3 support. You can take it as 2 soft gels. That's all you need. You just take 2 at dinner. Take 2 mid-dinner. That's it. or 1 teaspoon of omega-3 support, the liquid, at dinner. This is something that I do for my daughters. They get obviously a much smaller amount. They're using 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm doing a teaspoon on the nights that I don't do a fish. Now the fish, I give 5 specific ones. Again, I'll have my team link up that podcast as well. But not every fish is high in omega-3s. So you have to take that into consideration. But if you are not getting in enough omega-3s, it's one of those easy things to do. Honestly, it's easy to either take the nutritional supplement. It has to be a good quality. You can't buy it at Costco. Please don't do that. Please don't buy a cheap omega-3 because it's been oxidized. It's not the triglyceride-bound form of it. It's just not going to be absorbed. It's going to create more oxidative damage. That's why you see sometimes contrarian-based studies. It all depends on what you're using. You need to use something the body can actually process, like methylated cobalamin, methylated B12, right? Super important that you look at that. Again, I want to do right by you. Use your favorite company. You can always use the ones that I formulate over at equilibriumnutrition.com. But these types of studies I'm just over and over and over, right? You have to get those omega-3s into your diet. So hopefully the podcast has been helpful. As always, if it was, please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Thanks so much. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll be talking with you tomorrow on our Cabral House Calls. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.